Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, my love for you is like a truck. Berserker is a 7.5% hazy IPA from Ore Dock Brewing Company in Marquette, Michigan. I got the chance a couple years back when I went to the UP Fall Beer Fest to check out Ore Dock's taproom in Marquette. If you haven't been there, if you haven't been to Marquette, it's beautiful. You should check it out. Ore Dock is a must-see. It's actually the first place that I had a good hard seltzer, like I can remember having a great hard seltzer there. So it'll always hold that special place in my heart. So let's take a look at Berserker here. But first, I'd like to thank my executive producers, Brian Kramer, David Jeffries, Chad Shirk, and Cam Freeman for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or throw me a couple bucks to buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.drafttherapy.com, where you can get early access to these videos and a few other special perks available only to patrons, including some patron-only giveaways that just started. So, let's take a look at the can here. This is a really cool can. I really like it. It has this black-gray kind of matte label. Not a lot of matte labels out there. And across the top it says what water wants to be. It has Ore Dock Brewing Company, their logo, which is a boat going through the actual ore dock. And underneath that, it says Berserker, Hazy India Pale Ale, 12 fluid ounces, 7.5% alcohol by volume, brewed in Marquette, Michigan, Superior, sourced. In the background, it has a bear, some scratch marks on the label as if the bear was scratching it. And on the back here, it says, drawn from the greatest of lakes, fashioned into the finest of beers. It has a little picture of Lake Superior. It shows you where Marquette is in relation to that. And it says, Berserker, a hopped-up fury of orange haze and lactose run amok on clouds of Kveik. This has the hops of Amarillo, Simcoe, and Mosaic. The ABV is 7.5%. The IBU is 50. Has the independent craft beer logo. Tells you that there's a Michigan deposit of 10 cents. This is brewed and canned by Ore Dock Brewing Company in Marquette, Michigan, 49855. You can check them out at ore-dock.com. And then on the spine of the label, next to the UPC, is just the government warning. Nothing special there. This was canned. It looks like it was canned in September. It looks like September 25th, 2021, but the date is all smudged. So we're going to use an IPA glass here for this hazy IPA. We'll see how hazy it is when we pour it. So let's go ahead and crack it and put a nose on it. That's a nice satisfying crack. And getting just a little bit of an orange aroma. Maybe a tiny bit of dankness, but not a whole lot of aroma really coming out of the glass. Let's go ahead and pour it. It's coming out like a hazy yellowish orange. We're going to get a little bit more aggressive. This is a 12-ounce can. I don't think I could over pour this, but I think oh, look at that. I just narrowly avoided foaming out this glass. Good for me. So if we're looking at it, we're getting about at least 3 fingers, if not 3.5 fingers of head. It's a slightly off-white head. It looks a little bit like it's shading a little bit towards orange or maybe a yellow. And it's got a super compact head. There are big cross-section of bubbles across, along the glass that I can see, but pretty dense on the top. If we hold it up to the light, as you can see there, it is very orange to you. It probably looks very orange to me. It looks very orange. The head looks just a little bit kind of leaning towards that orangey kind of white. Across the bottom, of course, this is a thinner glass on the bottom, so you get a little bit, you can see through it a little bit. I can just see a shadow through that IPA. Like, I'm not seeing much else at all. We're going to put a nose on the glass, because that's something that we do here. Getting more of a dank aroma out of the glass, maybe a little bit of a citrus, maybe a little bit, almost more of like a grapefruit kind of vibe coming off the aroma of the glass. I'm going to just pour the rest of what I got in here. I shouldn't be able to pour. Okay. See? Didn't have much left. Set that down here. Let's take a drink. Let's see how it is. Cheers. So the mouthfeel, very pillowy. Has a nice, just a nice kind of easygoing mouthfeel. It's not really, it's not light. It's a little bit shading for an IPA, for something that's usually thought of as maybe having a medium mouthfeel or, medium body, maybe a little bit on the lighter side. It's got a little bit of a thicker mouthfeel. It's a little bit more of a pillowy, cloudy, kind of just soft mouthfeel. And let's talk about the taste, because that's something that I was thinking about the mouthfeel, but I was thinking about the taste too. So cheers again. So this has a lot of orange quality to it. It has a lot of oranges, maybe some mandarin orange, maybe even a little bit of like a tangerine in there too. So orange and tangerine, you know, sometimes you get orange, sometimes you get tangerine. It's not very often that you get kind of both of those flavors. And then on the aftertaste, there is a bit of a orange kind of bitterness, rindy kind of bitterness, but there's also, I want to say there's a little bit of an earthy bitterness in there too. It has this like, just if you hold it in your mouth, you know, most people are just going to drink it and they're just going to swallow it. They're not going to do like what you might do or what I do when I get a beer and I kind of swish it around and I want to get all those flavors. So it has this almost kind of sweet, candied orange kind of flavor in there, but it's really subtle. It's really deep down in there and it's really easy to miss. Like if I hadn't swished it around, I wouldn't be able to pick that up, but it's more of like, you definitely get the orange, you definitely get like the mandarin, you definitely get the tangerine kind of flavor in there. And then it does fade out into a citrus bitterness. And I do want to say there's still a little bit of that earthiness in there. The earthiness kind of kicks in. It's like a floral and earthy, and it kind of kicks in right after you get the citrus bitterness. It's almost like you get the earthy, you get the floral kind of bitterness, and then it comes back and it just kind of kicks you a little bit, a little kick of orange bitterness again. It does dry very quickly on the tongue after the swallow. The aftertaste comes out a little bit more of a dry kind of aftertaste, so it's not something that like, I feel like I immediately want to take another drink of it. And it's not only because it tastes good, but also because of the dryness that kind of finishes off the beer. I don't, unfortunately, try too many Ore Dock beers. I think I tried their porter, or maybe a Belgian-inspired kind of beer that they did like years ago when they first started hitting downstate here. And I hadn't really picked much up besides going to their brewery, you know, when I went to Marquette and trying beers at beer fests or whatnot. But I don't really pick up their beer very often, but it's always quality. And this one is actually kind of surprising because when I saw that it was a double IPA, I was expecting it to be more of like a double, like a Midwest, really strong, maybe even like a West Coast IPA, but it is, I feel like it's maybe like in between. It's kind of like, it's hazy, but it's not super sweet. It does have sweetness to it, but it's not overpoweringly sweet. And it does fit into a little bit of that Midwest. I'm not really picking up on a lot of the malty kind of characteristics. And it almost, with the kick at the end, it almost kind of reminds me of a West Coast IPA, but it's definitely not quite that bitter. It's not bitter enough for me to consider it being a West Coast, but it's definitely kind of like riding in between that Midwest IPA and the West Coast IPA. So it's a really good kind of all-around IPA, but you're going to go into this knowing that you're going to get some of that sweetness. You are going to get some of that kind of Midwest kind of influence. It's not overly sweet, but there is that little bit of kick at the end. All right, friends, that has been Berserker from Ore Dock up in Marquette, Michigan. Have you had this beer, or do you think there's a difference nowadays between hazy or juicy or New England's or just straight up IPAs? Let me know in the comments down below. While you're down there, if you like beer, you might want to subscribe and click that bell. I'm here talking about beer twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. It's all for free for viewers just like you, and you never know, you might miss your newest favorite, or you might avoid a clunker because you were subscribed and getting those notifications. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries. These guys are in Marquette, Michigan. And until next time, don't forget to treat yourself to a little Draft Therapy. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Cheers.